What's going on, everyone? I am back with another video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and you're clicking on this video today because you're in the market to buying a Speed 3 and you don't know what to look for, so I'm going to help you out in this video. So like I do with all my videos, I'm going to be breaking down into categories, talking about each individual point that you should look for specifically. And right now we're going to go drive to a spot. Honestly, I don't even know where I'm going to go. I'm going to look for somewhere secluded, get a nice looking spot, and yeah, I'll see you guys when I'm there. Alright guys, we just got to a spot. So first I'm going to be explaining my experience with buying my car. So I got it last year, July of 2019, or actually you could say 2 years ago because it's 2021, but it's only been, I don't know. Anyways, so I got it around that time and I bought it from a dealership. So when I was buying this car, I literally had no idea, like I didn't have any information, no knowledge on this platform at all. Literally, this was like the first car I saw and I just bought it. So yeah, I didn't even know that like it was more smart buying it from like a owner compared to a dealership. And the problem with dealerships is they charge a lot. So when I first saw this car, it was 120K bone stock 2013, clean title. I think it was like 1 or 2 owners, and they wanted like 14.5, which was quite a lot of money. And at first I was like, oh, like that's not a lot, right? But like when I did my research and luckily I had my buddy come along with me, I realized that was overpriced, and I actually managed to work out a good deal with him to get it to 12,000. But honestly, looking back at it, I wish I looked at more than just one speed. I mean, it's for me personally, whenever like I'm buying a car, this happened with my first car too. It's usually like the first thing I see is like the first thing I buy. Like, I don't know, it's just like the first time you ever see it, you like fall in love. You're like, nope, I don't want anything else but this. And then, yeah, now this is my car. But like I said, I just want to give you guys the key points that you should be looking for that I wish I had known when I was looking for my Speed. Mind you, I got lucky with mine, but like I said, that's not always the way the cookie crumbles. Like, you could get unlucky at some point. So the first thing I want to talk about is buying stock versus modified. So obviously anyone will tell you if you're buying a Speed, go for a bone stock one. But the problem is those are unicorns. They're very hard to find. Odds are, I'd say like 8 of the 10 Speeds you're going to look for or see online like for sale are going to be modified. So it's not necessarily bad buying a modified one, but I will say if you're buying a modified Mazdaspeed 3, I would recommend buying it from an owner rather than a dealership. The reason why I say buying a modified car is smarter to get from an owner than a dealership, because the owner actually knows like what he did to the car, all this shit. The problem with dealerships is some of them are very uneducated with this platform. So like let's say you have like an intake and then an inlet pipe, they probably won't even know what that is. And if you ask them like, does this car have high pressure fuel pump internals, you may as well ask them like, how do I make $1 million? Like, it's literally impossible. Like they probably won't know unless like you get lucky, but 9 out of 10 times the dealership won't know any of the mods done to the car. So the reason why it's better to buy a modified car from an owner is because he can tell you when he modified what, did he get a tune for it. So that doesn't necessarily mean that all owners who have a modified car is a good buy, because let's say the guy bought the car with, let's say, an intake and an inlet pipe and like a blow off valve, but he doesn't even know what high pressure fuel pump internals is or like what an access port is. Then that's something else to take into consideration. You have to make sure if you're buying a modified car from an owner, he has to be educated enough on the car where he can explain to you when this was done, what this does, and if he has all the supporting mods for it. Another thing to take into consideration is the mileage. So let's say it's a high mileage car, but it's all highway miles. That's not necessarily bad, because I know some guys who only track their speeds and they have super low miles, but it's all track miles. So it kind of goes hand in hand. So yes, obviously, like everyone, when they buy like a newer car, they want like a low mileage car. But at the end of the day, if it's all highway miles, or like it's not like all track miles necessarily, it's not necessarily a bad thing. If it's all track miles, then that like 60,000 kilometers could feel like 150,000 kilometers to the car. It's just something to take into consideration. I also wanted to make another key point, guys. If the car is modified, that does not add value. I want to make that very clear. I see a lot of guys posting up their modified speeds, like 300-400 wheel horsepower cars, for like $20,000. Like, do not believe what they say. Do not make like the owner make you feel intimidated, like, oh, like because my car is modified, it's worth X amount of money. No, it's not. The cars that are bone stock are worth a lot more. Funny story. I knew a guy, cleanest 2013 tech package speed 3 I've ever seen. It had 50k kilometers and he sold it for 15,000. So I just want to make that very clear, guys. Don't let some like owner whatever make you feel intimidated. So what I'm saying is, don't let, you know, that car being modified make you think that this car is worth a lot more. It's actually worth a lot less, to be honest with you. Most guys, when they buy a speed, they want a bone stock one, you know, they want to start from scratch. You also want to look at how knowledgeable the owner or the dealer is. Yes, like the dealership obviously won't be as knowledgeable, but especially the owner. You want to make sure this guy knows his shit. Guys, I'm telling you, you don't want to buy a modified, especially if it's modified, you don't want to buy a modified car from like an owner who has no idea like any of the mods, like anything to do with this car, period. So let's say this guy has like intake, downpipe, and then you ask him, hey, do you have high pressure fuel pump internals? Has this car ever been tuned? If he says, oh, I don't know, or maybe, guys, just walk away, man. It's literally not worth it. And for a dealership too, if it has like a downpipe and like intake or whatever, like any sort of power mods, and it doesn't have, well, you won't even be able to know if it has high pressure fuel pump internals. But honestly, that's why I always say, if you're going to a dealership, just try to buy it stock, because if it has mods, you don't really know what's under the hood until you actually buy the car, unless they let you tear it apart, which they probably won't. But I just want to make that very clear, guys. You also want to look for small things. So maybe that's door dings, scratches anywhere. You really want to be picky. You really want to look around the whole car. So let's say this guy has door dings. You probably didn't give a shit about the car, and he probably didn't park far away from people in parking lots. And another thing, a big thing that I want to say is the front bumper. So as you can see, like the clips are kind of not like staying on. If you see this, odds are this guy has probably taken off his bumper a shit ton of times. That's something to take into consideration. And then you also want to just give a quick look around the front bumper, see if there's any scratches. As you can see, I got a small scratch right there. If you see a couple scratches, then you'll know the guy was probably lowered if it's on stock height, or if it's not lowered already, which will already give you that answer. But yeah, guys, door dings, scratches, front bumper, and the front bumper clip especially, that'll let you know if the car has been taken apart a bunch of times. Alright guys, moving down to under the hood, the key things you should be looking for from left to right. And also, you may notice some blue shit right here. Don't mind that. That's just the color foam wax thing from like the self coin wash. So just want to make that very clear if anyone's like, oh, what the hell is that? Okay, starting from the left side, first thing you want to look for is the passenger motor mount. So this is a stock one. If you see an aftermarket one, it'll look a little different. Down here, shit, you'll see an aftermarket downpipe. It'll look a little, I don't know if you guys can see that. Put my finger right there. That's an aftermarket downpipe. I'll throw up a picture of what a stock downpipe will look from here. Moving down, you have your front. Wait, let me focus. There we go. You have your well, if right now I have a front mount intercooler, but you'll see a top mount intercooler. I'll throw up a picture right there. Moving on, you got your dipstick right here. So if you want to check the oil, over here you got your bypass valve. So if you have a top mount intercooler, you'll see it directly connected to it. But since it's a front mount, like the piping intake right here, you'll see a stock air box if it's not like an aftermarket one. Down here, it'll be a lot harder to see once you have if you have a top mount intercooler, but you can see the turbo down there. Got your battery box, fuse box. That's pretty much it to look for. Also, under the car, you want to check if the car has a rear motor mount. To be honest, you'll probably be able to tell if there's a rear motor mount if the car feels a little vibraty. But if this is your first time ever being in a Speed, you may think it's normal, but I'll throw up a picture. You'll have to look under. I can't right now because my car's so low. You may have to jack it up, but that's just something else to look for. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much the main things you have to look for. The main things I will say, though, is looking for the aftermarket downpipe. That's very important. If you see an aftermarket one, especially from a dealership, I would just walk away immediately. Your top mount, or if you have a front mount, you'll see the front mount intercooler piping. And then the intercooler will actually sit right here. You want to look for the intake. Oh, I also forgot to mention inlet pipe right there. Shit, can you get the cob? Yep, you see the B right there. There's a cob. That's your turbo inlet pipe that connects directly to your turbo. And then that's pretty much it. As for high pressure fuel pump internals, you won't be able to tell. You'll have to actually pull it out yourself. Another key thing I want to talk about is, you may ask, so how do I know if the turbo is good? Well, you can do a little test. So basically what you want to do is you want to start up the car and you want to let it idle for like 5 to 10 minutes. So after that 5 to 10 minutes, if you see a shit ton of like big clouds of like white or blue smoke, odds are the turbo's going out. So to summarize like those key points, basically, if you're buying from a dealership and it's more than just like an intake and exhaust, I would probably just walk away. It's not really worth it if it's really modified. And it's from an owner, and let's say it is modified or it's stock, if the guy has no idea what he's talking about, then I would still walk away, because you don't want to buy a car, especially like this, where the guy is like has no idea anything about the car and is not educated about it. It's just not worth it. You want to figure out how regularly the oil has been changed, what oil he's been using, what oil filter has been used, when the tranny fluid has been done, coolant, brake fluid, all that stuff. I mean, that goes with any car. You just want to know like how regularly this car has been maintained. But I will say the most important ones are definitely the oil and the tranny fluid, because if the guy hasn't done the tranny fluid once and the car is already sitting at like 150k kilometers, that could be a red flag. And you also want to make sure with the spark plugs too. Especially if the car is modified and he's still running like the OEM stock spark plugs, that could be a bad sign, because you do want one-step colder plugs when you start modifying the car. All right, bro, we just got home. Basically, all I want to really say is just be picky, all right? The last thing you want to do is, buy the first thing you see, and then next thing you know, the car you buy is crap. Anyways, guys, that about wraps up my video. I hope you guys enjoyed. The reason why I really wanted to make this video is because I actually had a couple guys hitting me up saying that my videos helped them, convince them to buy a Speed or what to look for. And I really wanted to make a video dedicated towards this. So I really hope this video helped out a couple of you guys. Anyways, guys, that about wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button. We're slowly growing every single day. Not a lot, but, we're going to make it one day, boys. As long as you want to, support the journey, follow, my life with this car, and then future cars to come, Focus cars. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you next one. Peace.